Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast. We're not only committed to our opinions, but also each other. Aww. I'm Kevin Lau.
I'm Ryan Davis.
And I'm Zac and Ryan.
And you may have noticed that Ryan and I were more in sync that time than usual, because Ryan and I are in the same room.
Hey, nice.
I can hit Kevin now.
Oh,
don't do that.
Somebody's poisoned my water.
Kevin, quick, bash on Thor Dark World. Go.
And then Ryan will bash on Ragnarok. We already talked about it in the car yesterday. It's fine.
Oh, God, no.
It was a short conversation.
It was interrupted by a guy who was going to cross the street, but then stopped halfway when he saw an ambulance coming and then just saluted the ambulance.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it was a very strange downtown visit, but
yeah,
it was fun.
Okay.
Moving on. Speaking of strange, we did not watch
whirling
Doctor
sirens
Strange.
flying down the street.
We didn't watch Stranger Things.
We watched Ghostbusters, not Ghostbusters Afterlife. We watched the original Ghostbusters because on this show we only watch good movies.
Boo! I bet Afterlife's fine.
It's not good.
I haven't.
Did you watch it?
I can't.
I watched. Yeah, my family watched it for Thanksgiving. Okay. It is a basically a very expensive fan movie that you would watch on YouTube.
I've heard it's just like
with Paul Rudd.
I've heard it's just like when they remade like It and Stranger Things. It's like that vibe with Ghostbusters, but
not as good. There's a point where it just forgets it's a movie and just becomes like fan service. Yeah,
nice.
You say it's nice, but then you realize, wait, I didn't have any emotional connection to anyone.
Yeah,
anyways,
that's
my little quickie spoiler-free review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. But now we're going to talk about Ghostbusters from 1984 with Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. What's the other guy's name?
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, yeah. Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis.
Remember all the white guys, not the black dude?
Hey.
Wow, Kevin, you forgot the black guy. Come on now.
Well, hey, Ghostbusters doesn't have an Asian guy yet, so am I really in the wrong?
Wow.
Yeah, so Ghostbusters, the original. What's one thing we liked about it? Ryan, do you want to start?
I mean, well, I know me and Zac, you didn't watch this at all. I haven't seen this. This is your first time, right?
This is my first time watching Ghostbusters, yes.
Oh, yeah, I was really surprised when you guys told me, like, none of you guys watched the original Ghostbusters, only the 2016 one. I'm like, why?
I have not seen any Ghostbusters. I haven't seen 2016.
Oh, okay. So this is new for you entirely.
Completely new, yes. I did it right and watched the original one first.
I played the video game on Wii and I watched the 2016 version. So this was the first time watching the original. I liked it. It was very good. My favorite parts about it was the fact that everyone was just kind of okay with the ghosts. Like, it's just ghosts around. I was like, all right, cool. I definitely liked the special effects. Those were really well done for an 80s movie. I don't know if special effects
for an 80s movie. Yeah. Yes. Watching it now, I'm like, ooh, those terror dogs. Ooh.
Oh yeah, no.
I believe it was at least nominated for best visual effects at the Oscars. Let me look it up.
I would believe
You said it was claymation for the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs were stop motion animation and then implemented into the live action footage because CGI was not in movies until Tron. Yeah.
Kevin can attest that all I wanted to see was Stay Puft. And I was just like, is Stay Puft coming yet? Is Stay Puft here yet?
So excited for Stay Puft.
Yeah, it has those 2 Oscar nominations, Best Visual Effects and Best Original Song.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was like, that's all I wanted from that movie was Stay Puft. I just wanted to see Stay Puft. And I didn't realize it was supposed to be the big bad at the end. It's like, choose the form of the destroyer. I'm like, all right.
Right, yeah, he was like, I want to see Stay Puft. And we're like, he's not that big of a part in this movie. Like, don't worry about it.
It's all right.
Yeah, no, I very much enjoyed it. And it helped that I like played the video game because I was like, oh man, I recognize that. They just left the ghost lady.
I got a lot of references from it. Like, so like I'm a big, like, kind of funny, like, Stan, like, one of the people on that podcast loves Ghostbusters. So I understand all the references and stuff like that. But like Ghostbusters is definitely a product of the 80s. It's still a fun time.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Still a blast to watch. And the concept is super sound and like it's very concrete for the guys that like are from SNL. Like it's a very good sci-fi kind kind of like not fantasy, supernatural story and narrative. It's just like there wasn't a lot of comedic bits. Like it wasn't as funny as I was going to be. That's
right. It's more like is a film that's like driven entirely by the concept of like these are people that bust ghosts.
Right.
Don't worry about the rest of it.
As Kevin told me,
very well. Yeah.
Kevin kept telling me, he was like, yeah, it just seems like the guy just snorted a bunch of cocaine and said, yo, I got an idea.
That was all of this SNL in the 80s and 90s, though.
Most of the movies in the 90s and in the 80s. Yeah. Because how do you think Terminator came about?
Oh, yeah. Let's go back in time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like, I also love like, yeah, it's an 80s Hollywood icon, completely concept driven, no emotional stakes whatsoever. You're just like, this is a good time.
I'm very surprised it got as much of a cult following as it did, though.
I don't know. It's like, I mean, I guess you can, yeah, I guess, it was pretty big when it came out. So then like kind of like every kid watch it. And it's just like, when you watch it as a kid, you're just like, wow, this is so cool. And it kind of sticks with you because of how iconic it is. Like the streams, the music, the
sound
Ghostbusters
effects for
car.
those streams are really cool.
Yeah. And then like, there was a second movie. It's not as good. And then
reboot.
like
Another reboot.
there was a reboot. The reboot was okay. And then Afterlife was like, it's whatever. The video game is really good. Essentially like a third movie. Highly recommend playing it if you haven't.
I really thought crossing the streams would have a lot more impact on the entire ending of the movie.
They only had so much money they can put into the budget, Ryan.
I just like everyone kept going like, you don't cross the stream. So I thought it was like, oh yeah, they like blew up like the city or something.
Well, you gotta imagine like it's in that like dimension, so it's contained within that dimension they're in. So it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And the thing with like people not being like surprised by ghosts is kind of like it's kind of been hinted at like ghosts have made appearances throughout time. So it's like they're not super shocked about ghosts existing, but there's like definitely like ghost deniers, basically COVID. So
Oh god.
I was just like, oh man, everyone's like so cool with these ghosts are coming around. Like, oh man, I saw this like librarian trying to kill me. It was like, all right.
Ghostbusters predicted COVID.
Yeah. Like I said, it's very fun. Like I said, I was missing a lot more of like comedic timing and a little more like comedy stuff because like it's from like Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray, right? Like guys who've been in SNL and like were hilarious on there. I was expecting to be like a lot more like laugh out loud, kind of funny and like more funny, but it wasn't. Like a lot of what Bill Murray says, it's like blink if you miss it. Like he says a lot of funny shit. Like if you're missing it, like if you don't listen to it, you'll miss it. But besides that, like nothing really hit. I think I like Dan Aykroyd's character the best. Just because I like the way he played it. I like the way he like was very into it. Like Dan Aykroyd's always been the one that's very much into the Ghostbusters idea. And Bill Murray just kind of, if like he's feeling very performative in a lot of some of the scenes. Like he's trying, but like he doesn't really ultimately care. And then Harold Ramis just plays that role so well as Egon. He's just like,
and he co-wrote the movies. So
yeah. What's the line where they're staring at the Stay Puft and then he's like, sorry, Peter. I'm terrified beyond the thought of rational thought or whatever he says.
Yeah, right.
Because like, I'll be honest, like he is the character I like the most.
Yeah.
Because one, they didn't have Ernie Hudson / Winston's character in it like for more than like 15, 20 minutes. So I was like, I don't feel anything right now. I did not like Bill Murray or Dan Aykroyd's characters, except like in the beginning, I liked them. And then after they beat Slimer, I just stopped caring about the two of them. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I liked Dan Aykroyd and Egon and Harold Ramis. Bill Murray, like watching the part where he's like doing the like test on with the college girl and the other dude. It's like, oh, this is cringy, but like it only works. Yeah. It only works because it's Bill Murray. Like if it was any other actor in the 80s, it'd be really weird.
Well, I felt like all of Bill Murray's like scenes with like any female was just cringy. And like, I'm sorry, I did not like the relationship. That entire little sex scene thing. I was just like, this is bad. I'm like, I just want to turn away.
Right. Well, it's like you definitely know he's a creep, but he also like he's the protagonist, so you don't want to be like seen as a bad guy. So like you don't want him to take advantage of her in the scene, like obviously. So they just wrote it in a really weird way.
Yeah. Super weird.
Like,
I am
80s, am I right?
80s. But Sigourney Weaver, man, what a treasure.
Oh yeah.
What a treasure.
Sigourney Weaver in her prime.
Could we also talk about Rick Moranis' character?
Yeah, what a loser.
He cracked me up. Like every time I saw him on the screen, I started giggling.
Well, I was just trying to figure out, like, the entire movie, I was like, isn't that the guy from like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Dude,
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And Princess Bride, I believe, correct?
I don't know if he was in Princess Bride.
Is he not? Am I thinking of someone else? No, I'm thinking I was thinking the Inconceivable guy. That's not.
That's not him.
That is definitely not him.
That is not him.
Burke Moranis was in Spaceballs. He was the Darth Vader.
Oh yes, sorry, yes, Spaceballs. Yes, correct.
He's in Flintstones too. He's in Brother Bear?
I guess so.
Yes.
According to Google, at least.
Ryan, so you have not seen Ghostbusters 2, right?
No.
So I was listening to podcasts and they recapped all the Ghostbusters movies leading up into Afterlife, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you that Egon and Janine, is that the secretary?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do not end up together.
What? They
do
don't?
not end up together.
Well, now I'm mad.
I
know,
can't
right?
say anything right now.
Who
They had the most like chemistry on screen and they don't end up together. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So what happens? They just...
I think in the second one, it's her and Lewis. I think. Like Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
not.
sure.
I'm not saying anything. There's more with Afterlife.
Yeah, there's more with
What?
Afterlife. Yeah, there's more leading into it. But like in the second Ghostbusters, it's Rick Moranis and Janine.
I don't like this. I hate it.
Me neither. It's awful.
Well, maybe you'll like Afterlife then.
Yeah, Ghostbusters like they really like can't figure out Egon's character until.
Oh God!
like,
Yeah.
Is Egon just are those kids in an affair?
I'm not saying anything.
Oh no, they're an affair.
But yeah, Ghostbusters 2 is generally considered not canon.
yeah, people do not like the fact. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. It's usually like the first movie and then the game and that's it.
well now it'd probably be the game or Ghostbusters and then Afterlife, and that'd really be it.
Yeah, fans really like Afterlife. I'm just kind of like, it's whatever.
You gotta let it, Kevin. If you gotta let it go for original Ghostbusters, you gotta let it go for Afterlife, and just let it sit down and let it take you on a ride.
Hey, if I have to accept Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, you have to accept Afterlife.
Yeah, that's fair.
Exactly.
You say that even though you haven't seen it yet.
I know. Here's the thing. I know it cannot be bad as Rise of Skywalker in the
It's
reverse
not.
fan
Oh no.
service.
It's like a very middle of the road movie.
There you go.
Like like there is joy to have from it. Then you realize it's like it doesn't make sense if you think about it.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
it's a good
I mean,
thing.
like,
I don't think.
I mean, like you could say about a lot of Ghostbusters and then toward the end of number 1, but whatever.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about it. Just have a
you,
good
didn't
time.
you didn't really have to think of the other Ghostbusters, except for like, man, this EPA guy is really determined to just shut them down.
Really determined.
He's like, they are a hazardous vial, and I'm like, dude, like, it's just 4 dudes in jumpsuits. Just
Everyone in
stop
that
and
room
go.
is. Everyone in that room is like, do not turn this off. Like, you fucking idiot. Do not turn. And they turn it off. And he's like, what'd I tell you? What'd I fucking tell you?
And then he still is like, oh man, it's all their fault. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Ghostbusters.
We told you.
I was like, EPA, wow, if only they were that good at their job in real life.
No shit.
Look, man. Simpsons movie. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Put a dome around it.
All right, on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and we come back, we're going to talk about one thing we didn't like and our final thoughts on Ghostbusters. See you in a bit. Starting a podcast? Try a Podbean Unlimited hosting plan. It's what we use here at Committed Critics, giving us the opportunity to have our show on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and even Spotify. You can get your first month of unlimited hosting for free on us by going to podbean.com/committedcrits, just like our Twitter, or by clicking the link in the description. Podbean, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
And welcome back to Committed Critics as we continue our talk about Ghostbusters, and specifically one thing we did not like.
Sorry.
Zach, did you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So I said earlier in the first part, because we were kind of like stretched for stuff to talk about, the pace of the comedy. Like, there are really funny one-liners. Like, like I said earlier, if you aren't paying attention to Bill Murray, anything he says, it's blink and you miss it. And that comedy works. Like, there was a couple times I was chuckling and just kind of giggling, and Jordan just kind of sitting there like, okay, like, it wasn't that funny, Zach. Calm down.
Did Jordan not like the movie?
I don't know. Let me ask her. Jordan, did you like the movie?
I've seen it before.
Oh, she's seen Ghostbusters. She's seen all the Ghostbusters movies before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She's more cultured than you, Zach.
Apparently, we know this. We know this. Given that it's now committed critics, we're now Jordan's bitches,
Yeah, exactly.
and actually now Jordan and Holly's bitches.
Yep. Holly is our most... well, I'm not sure if she listens to it the most, but we're her most listened podcast, and I appreciate it. So
thanks,
shout out to Holly.
Thanks, Holly.
Thanks, Holly Rosewood. You're the best.
Hire her. She's a good voice actor.
She is. But yeah, there were some funny parts. I just wish there was more like laugh out loud, like more like creative comedic,
Like
bits,
just gut punch comedy.
Yeah, more like, because like it's Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. You have like they really wanted to make a sci-fi movie, like, and be like be serious and kind of like grounded, but like they also wanted to be silly and they couldn't lean away from their comedy background. So like, and this is what we got with Ghostbusters. It's still really good. Like, I just wish there was more funny bits. I wanted to, because I was always told like Ghostbusters is like a funny movie. It's hilarious, but like it wasn't hilarious by any means.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it hilarious, but it's like, you know, if people were like, "Oh, Ghostbusters is supposed to be serious," like, no, it's not. It's like, it's a straight up comedy. Like,
And see, that's,
Right, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
my
it's
thing.
like,
I did not. Oh,
Sorry,
keep
Kevin.
going.
Sorry, no, Ryan, go ahead. You're fine. I'm sorry.
Oh, that is the thing I did not like about this. I told Kevin this after we watched it, was that everyone was like, because I like the 2016 reboot. I'm one of the few people who do. I saw it before I saw this. And so the reason I liked it is because everyone was like, man, this is terrible. It's like, it's so comedical. And I'm like, so I'm going into this thinking, oh, this is like a small, not horror film, but like kind of a thriller. So it's going to be like, you know, a little bit of comedy here and there, but for the most part, kind of like some kind of like, oh, we're hunting ghosts or whatever. And I'm like, this is not what I expected at all. Like, and I was like, why do they hate the new movie so much? It's just as dumb comedy.
when your movie has the line, "Busted makes me feel good," I don't think it's a serious movie.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And then like Ghostbusters Afterlife, they sort of play the theme song, but like for some reason the end credits is an original song. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
It didn't
so
end
like,
with the fanfare.
So like I'm looking at like quotes from the movie on IMDb, right? And like the funniest one I thought was when they're like in the mayor's office and like, yes, it's true, this man has no dick, and then like the guy just charges at him. I'm like, okay, that was pretty good. Like, that's a good one.
Right.
And then the line from Spangler earlier, where it's sorry, Venkman, I'm terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought.
Yeah, there's some really solid lines in there. But yeah, I mean, kind of like going up with you, Zach, like one thing I didn't like was how there was like there's a bit of a slowdown here and there for considering it's a fast movie.
Right.
It just suddenly like slows down. It's like, okay, just get back to busting ghosts, man. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ryan.
you don't really see them bust a lot of ghosts. You see them beat Slimer, and then they just have the little montage of them just like going around with the traps.
Right.
And then they fought Stay Puft, and I was like, all right, you didn't really see much ghost busting, but cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
it still works. It works to the movie's credit. It makes it nice, short and sweet. Like, you're in, you're out. No harm, no foul kind of vibe for me. Like, I get you don't see them bust a lot of ghosts. You just gotta kind of assume it. But like,
I mean, their budget was only $30 million.
yeah, exactly. They used every penny they had.
Hey, they made a lot of money back, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for $30 million in the 80s with this cast, like, and what they pulled off, that's actually really cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I just was
Kevin, what was the one thing you didn't like?
The theme song. Just kidding.
Go. So ridiculous.
No, it really is just like the slowdowns here and there. And then, but other than that, like, you know, it's like we were talking about it during the break. It's like, man, it's just Ghostbusters. Like, it is what it is. And it's like, it's unashamed of what it is. And that's anyway, we like it. It's a
Really nothing
staple.
more to it. Yeah.
Hollywood culture.
Yeah. I can't even rate. I don't even know how I would rate this.
I give it like a 4 out of 5. Like seriously.
4
like,
out of 5. It's not a
yeah.
perfect movie, but it's a solid one.
See, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 only for the fact that I expected more from how everyone hyped it up and trashed the 2016 reboot.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like I think I told you guys before we watched the movie. It's like, hey, listen, like the original Ghostbusters is overhyped, but it's still good. Like, don't expect the greatest epic you've ever seen in your life. It's just a solid comedy.
I really went into it thinking it was going to be the greatest epic of my life because I was like, everyone's like, this is the best thing. Stranger Things has it. Everyone references it. I'm like, all right. This must be like God's gift to man.
Well, like and like going to like Ryan said, like you were expecting like an epic. I was expecting more of like a hilarity movie, and like they're both neither. It's just a good sci-fi movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then like there are like expansions of the universe. Like there's there's 2 cartoons, like the original Ghostbusters and the next Ghostbusters. There's the video game, which is really great. That was just remastered in 2019, and then there's comic books. I think they even had a crossover with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you really like the Ghostbusters and want to see more, there's more.
Why the turtles?
Isn't that why
and not
like the
Scooby-Doo?
second one?
Oh.
Isn't that why the second Ghostbusters isn't like highly regarded? Is because it plays off the cartoon more than the original movie?
I don't know about that. I remember watching it. It was like, this is worse than the first movie.
Right. Yeah.
Like significantly worse.
I think it builds off from the cartoon more so than the actual movie. I believe.
Interesting.
Because there's a 5-year gap between the first movie and the second movie.
Makes sense why it wasn't a trilogy.
It's
Until
still
Afterlife.
The budget was still 30 to 40 million for the second Ghostbusters.
Oh.
And it still made $215 million.
They should put more.
So go off.
Yeah, right. All right. So yeah, I think we can move on to our final thoughts on Ghostbusters. My final thought is that the theme song and the score still slap.
Oh yeah. The score, anytime like that like 80s music would kick in, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Yeah.
Like the
I
little,
agree
like,
with you.
the little like Ghostbusters, like it's so iconic. Like it's not just the main theme song that's Ghostbusters iconic. There's like a few other like underlying scores that are like, yeah, this is Ghostbusters.
Yeah. The theme song soundtrack, they do indeed slap, Kevin. Like I said earlier, very impressed by a sci-fi concept, and it's concrete in how it is like in a narrative coming from an all-star SNL cast. Just wish it was a little more funny coming from them, but that's about it. That's all I can ask for.
Look, you can only expect so much quality when your producers are snorting cocaine all the time.
Listen, yes, you are correct.
The 80s, man. The 80s. What a time to be snorting cocaine.
Oh,
what about you,
my.
Ryan? Any final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I will watch the 2016 version with glee and enjoyment because I still think it's a phenomenal movie.
It's good. Like the 2016 version, like the only problem I have with it is that it's a reboot instead of a sequel.
Yeah.
Even though like you have the original cast in there, just make it a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, we have the original cast, but like doesn't like Bill Murray, spoilers for 2016, like his character, his cameo just get killed in 2016?
Yeah.
Nice.
He does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but he plays a big role in it though, like especially in the extended version.
Yeah, he plays a big role. He dies. Ernie Hudson is just the one girl's uncle.
Nice.
And then Dan Aykroyd, I can't remember what, I think he's just a cab driver or something.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't believe in no ghosts.
And I was like, all right.
Meanwhile, Dan Aykroyd, I think in real life does believe in ghosts.
Oh,
And then,
Dan Aykroyd
sadly-
has symptoms of Tourette's and Asperger's syndrome. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Dan Aykroyd is an interesting man if you look up his stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And R.I.P. Egon.
Harold Ramis.
Oh yeah, recipes Harold Ramis. But hey, his legacy is basically Ghostbusters Afterlife. No spoilers.
Yeah, it was.
Did they say, like, in honor of Harold Ramis?
Yeah, they do.
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I assumed.
for Harold. I can't talk about it. I'm sure Zach, you said no spoilers, so I'm assuming you saw the spoilers on it.
Oh, if you want a spoiler Afterlife, go ahead. I don't think we're really.
No,
gonna
Ryan hasn't
watch
seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I want to see it now.
You
just 'cause
wanna
I'm
see it?
curious.
Oh,
I'm curious to
okay.
see.
I listened to a whole podcast about it, so I know everything that happens in it.
It's all right.
I'm curious to see what happens. Now that Kevin
I
said
think Ryan
so
will
many
like
things.
Afterlife, to be honest with you.
Like there, it's not. It's I didn't like. I don't think there's anyone going to be. I don't think there's going to be anyone who walks out of Afterlife be like, I hate this movie.
Right.
I think it's just you're either going to love it or you're going to be like, that was okay.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like that's how I'll be. Here's the thing. I just don't have any hype for Ghostbusters anymore after having seen this.
It doesn't get better than the original. Except for the
Ryan
video
does
game.
get better in 2016.
I'm sorry. I was just like, I really was expecting more. I'm sorry, all of the Ghostbusters fans. I do love. I do
For
love
female
this movie.
Ghostbusters, the feminists are taking over. I'm an adult
no.
virgin.
I do enjoy this movie, everyone. I just don't get why y'all hated the new one.
There are, well, I mean, women. 2016 Ghostbusters. I need to rewatch it. I think it might actually be a more solid movie than the original. Friend of the show, Danny Vincent from Why Isn't Ty and Dan, he always tells me like, yeah, this the 2016 one is better than the original. I'm like, and I was like, I don't know, man. But also like I hadn't seen either one in a while, so I was like, I couldn't compare them.
Right.
So yeah, like seeing this one is like, I mean, like the original Ghostbusters still gets by with how iconic it is and how it's like it hits all the right points to be an icon.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ghostbusters 2016, it kind of like it's copy and paste of even the story wise as well.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just executed a little bit better. It's basically like another draft of the original movie.
Interesting.
So even though like it's technically a better finished product, I still think the original Ghostbusters deserves more credit.
Right.
I mean, it did build a franchise.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, I was the one that did build the franchise, had the concept.
Quote unquote franchise. It's still a very weird spot, franchise speaking, because Sony invested so much money into the 2016 Ghostbusters and it flopped. And they're just like, well, darn.
Well, we messed up.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, short and sweet episode. I like it. Good job, boys.
Yeah. I was trying to stretch it out to 30 minutes by talking about random things. So yeah, there's comic books, video games. Play the video game.
No, good. Wrap it up, Kevin. Go.
All right. If you want to hear the rest of our thoughts on other topics, tune into our full episode over on Patreon, where we will be talking about my first impressions of the PlayStation 5.
A year after launch.
A year after launch, and I don't own one still. Ryan just brought his over and let me play it for a little bit.
I'm sorry, I tried, Kevin.
You can follow us on Twitter at CommittedChris, that's COMMITTED0ITS. You can follow us on YouTube, Committed Critics, spelled the same there it is here everywhere else. And special thanks to our current patrons, Davey Peppers from Game Mechanics, Ryan Kolakowski from Ryan Plays Drums, Andy Phillips from Andy Phillips, and Jody Wright. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.